All right, hello today. If you missed today in class, we are just doing a quick color review, color wheel. I think it's always helpful to do this before we start a painting, review how to mix colors. And since some of you have not had art since elementary school, it might be nice to review. So on your sheet, you'll notice at the bottom, it asks for what are the three primary colors? And the three primary colors are blue, yellow, and red. And we are going to start out by putting those colors down into each one of the sections. So I have my handy dandy round brush here, and I probably might want to grab a smaller one as well, but we'll just see how it goes. All right, I have my water, and we're going to begin. Now, you do not want to take very much paint at all when you are doing this, because a little bit goes a long way. And this is just for, just like as a review and a quick reminder how to mix colors. So I'm going to get my paintbrush wet. I've dipped it into the water. I'm just going to briefly kind of wake up my red paint, and I'm going to get it alive and moving. All right, I'm going to roll it off my paintbrush. I'm rolling it. I don't know if you can see that. And I have a nice amount on my brush. So right here at the top where it says red, I'm going to fill that in. Right there. So I'm starting out with my primary colors. And you can see how I've just kind of filled it in, and easy peasy lemon squeezy. No problem. Now I'm going to grab a different brush, and we are going to do our blue. So I'm going to put this brush to the side just for a moment. I'm not putting it in the water because we're going to be mixing colors, but we're just going to do our primary colors first. So the next primary color that we are using is blue. So here we go, and we're just doing this one little section of blue. Putting it down. And we are working with tempera paints, just so you're aware of that. And tempera paints have a long history in the art world. And some people say, why do you just use them? You know, aren't they just for elementary students? And absolutely not. There's a guy named Andrew Wyatt who used to paint in tempera. Hyper-realistic images. You can do a lot of marvelous things with tempera paint. All right, so we got our blue down. Our last primary color is going to be yellow. So I'm getting my paintbrush. So I'm using currently 3 paintbrushes, just to kind of, so I don't have to, contaminate my water quite yet, and just to get the basics going. All right, so those are our primary colors. Now, the next step I want to do with each one of these colors is I'm going to take a little bit of yellow here, and I'm putting it out in the middle. And I'm going to grab another brush right there, and I'm going to grab a little bit of white, because when we add white to a color, we create a tint. So now we are getting a lighter value of that particular color. So we are getting a light yellow. So this is what happens when you add white to a color. It lightens it up. Now I'm going to wash my brush thoroughly, because I don't want any of the white paint left on my paintbrush. I'm washing that. And I probably am going to wipe it down to make sure, on a separate piece of paper, to make sure that I do not have any of that white left. Good. I'm going to take a little bit of that yellow again off to the side, and I'm going to add just a hair of black in there. I don't want to contaminate the black paint. So again, I'm going to pick up my paintbrush and add just a little black next to it. I'm putting that paintbrush to the side. I'm doing this all for demonstration purposes, just to make things easier for me when it comes to cleanup. So you can see what happens when I add that black to that yellow. I'm going to add a little bit more yellow. It becomes like a funny color green. almost like not quite a foresty green, but pretty close. So that's something to note, that when you think it would be a lighter yellow, wow, the black comes in and it changes it to green. So super interesting. So we have this color happening. So that is the yellow with its tint and shade. Now we're going to do that with our red paint. We are going to add white to it. So we're going to take a little chunk of red paint off to the side here. And I'll get a little bit of white. And now we're going to mix those two, and we can get that lighter color of red, a light red, or it becomes a pink. So we've added white to the red and we've created a tint, and we are getting a lovely pink color. All right, great. Now we're going to take a little bit more red off to the side here, and we'll take a little black to that red. And I wonder what's going to happen. Can you predict what's going to happen when we add the black to the red? Is it going to become green too? What do we think is going to happen? So think to yourself, what is going to happen when we add black? Well, the black overtook that red, didn't it? So I think we need to add a little bit more in there. So let's add just a hair more in there. And we've gotten that. And it almost becomes like a burgundy. Look at that, it's beautiful. What a rich, lovely color. So I'm going to put that down, but it also has almost a brown hue to it, but it is a very burgundy color. All right, and we're going to do the same thing with our blue paint now. We've done the red, we've done the yellow, and we've added tints and shades to it. Now we're going to do the same thing with the blue. So I am going to grab a little bit of blue here, push it off to the side. I will grab a little bit of white paint here, and we will mix that up, and we will get a wonderful light blue. So you can see that's happening. Look at that. What a great color. It's one of my most favorite colors is blue. Any kind of blue, dark, light, a blue-green. I like all kinds of blues. All right, that looks good. So now I'm going to take a little bit of blue. Again, put it off to the side, and I'm going to add a little bit of black. So what do we think is going to happen when we add this black? What do we think is going to happen when we add that black? Is it going to become more of a midnight blue? We shall see. Let's see what happens. It looks pretty dark right now. So look at how that black took over the blue. So I am going to put a little bit more blue in there so we can see what's going on. Yeah, I like to use both my hands when I'm painting. Flip-flop, and I always have lots of brushes going to save me time. All right, so we go in here and look at that. That is a midnight blue. Holy smokes, that's a rich color. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are going to start mixing our primaries, creating secondary colors. Our secondary colors are green, orange, and violet, or sometimes people call it purple. So let's start over here, and we're going to mix the red and the yellow. And we're going to use equal parts, and we will create an orange, and then we will do our tints and shades, and then I'm going to add more yellow, and then I will create my tints and shades, and same thing for the red. I will do this for all my different sections. So we're going to start out with the reds. So I'm going to take equal parts of the red and the yellow together. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm taking, and you can see that, taking 1 part red there. And I did get a little yellow on I hate that when I do that. So we gotta make sure I don't contaminate the yellow. And I'm gonna take the yellow there. And I might need to get more yellow later on here, but we'll just see. And that's equal parts of the red and the yellow. So we're gonna mix those up really nicely. And we should end up with an awesome orange. Let's go, I think we might need to add, yep, a little bit more yellow to this. So briefly pause and hang on here. And I just need to get a little bit more yellow added on to my plate. And I like using a paint lid for when I'm painting because it makes me control how much paint I take. And I have to be mindful of the space that I am using. So I'm gonna grab a little bit more yellow paint and get just a hair more in there. There we go. And I will continue to mix those up. So I'm gonna put that brush there, that brush over there. Kind of chaotic here, but we got it. There we go. Oh, that's a better orange. Isn't that pretty? It's like a sunset orange. All right, so we're gonna paint that color in right there where the orange area is. Awesome. And so this has equal parts for both. So I'm gonna pull a little bit out over here to the side. And we're gonna add more yellow to that. And this one, we will add a little bit more red to it. Now, with that being said, I'm just gonna push that over there to the side. And we need to add a little white to this and a little black. So this is where we need to be a little bit more careful when we are about to do some mixing of our colors, because I am gonna be just ever so kind of split this in half, and one half will be for the black and one half will be for the white. So I'm gonna take a little bit of white and I'll mix that in right over here. And I bet we're gonna get a very lovely orange, light orange, kind of like a peachy color. Yeah, that's nice. So we're gonna add that tint in. And look, it almost looks like a flesh tone. Isn't that nice? And then now I'm gonna clean my brush and we will add some black to it. So we don't wanna overdo the black because the black can be pretty powerful. So I've added some black in there now. And look at that rich color, wow. So we'll go ahead and we'll put that down. So I think I need to add a little bit more black to that. I was being super cautious because I hate when I take too much and then it overpowers the entire color and I didn't get a good balance. But I think I got it now. There we go. All right. Now I'm going to continue with the yellow, and I'm going to add more yellow to this, and this is going to become a tertiary color. And so I'm adding more yellow to this, and it is going to become a yellow orange. So put that in there, and I'm going to just use my yellow brush and mix those up together. And occasionally I might need to add water because as we're working, these start to dry out, excuse me, fairly fast. So there we go, more of a yellow orange. That's lovely. And so I'm going to pull that this way. Nice. And then we will need to grab a little bit of white from that and add some white. But we'll also need to keep it somewhat separated as well because we want to save some for the black. So that little spot there will be for the black. and we will mix up this lighter yellow orange. And this is, we are creating this tint. So that is what we're doing with this particular color. Whenever we add white, we are creating a tint. So there it is. And then now we will add a little black to that. So I'm gonna add black to that. And wow, we're getting that very unusual green again. Pretty exciting. So look at what's happening. We have a brown, a really lovely brown. Okay, wonderful. Now we're going to go to the red orange. And we are going to take a little bit more red into that color that we previously made. I'm going to dip in the water to get some more water to help it mix up a little bit. And I think that's good. We'll put that down and we'll roll our way across. I think we're going to grab just a little hint of that in there. Yep. It's very similar to the red. It just has a hint of the yellow in there. And now we're going to add some white. So I'm going to grab a little bit of white. And I want to make sure to keep some separated so it doesn't, so we leave some for the black. And then there we go. Clean off our brush. Whenever we add a white to a color, we never want to put the black in because that'll just change everything completely. And the black and the white work much differently. They affect colors. If you want that effect, that's fine, but you just have to be mindful because it kind of dulls the color when you do that. All right, so now we're going to add a little black to this. And we are going to have, here it is, I've just put a little bit of black in there, mixing that up from that orange that we made. And all right, so that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to continue the rest of this, and if I have the mad crazy skills, I'm going to do this in hyper speed so you understand how to do it. I'm not really going to talk through the rest of this. I'm just going to do it, and you can either paint along with me or you can, if you get the gist, you can just continue on, but make sure you are aware of what your primary colors are, how to mix those primary colors to get your secondary colors. And the colors that are next to each of the primary are called the secondary, or the, or actually you can call them tertiary colors or intermediate colors. And those are your yellow greens, your yellow orange, your red violet, your blue green. All right, so I'm gonna continue on with my yellow green. And I did, this is just crazy just to show you. Look at all my crazy brushes I've got going on. All right, so I'm going to clean some of those and continue on. And here we go. So I love having tons of brushes around too, especially when I'm painting. All right, so got my yellow, and I'm just gonna, this is the last time I'm using this yellow because I've already mixed it with the red. So I feel pretty good about it. So I can just take a small chunk of the blue now in here, not a lot, just a little bit of the blue. And there it is. Put that brush to the side. Mix this up. that lovely color. Getting rid of the yellow completely. Look at that's a nice rich green. All right, here is our yellow green. And now I need a little bit of, put this to the side, a little chunk of this to the side over here, because I'm gonna add a little white to that. And I will mix a little white to that, and we'll get a light green. So we get a little lovely light green. And then we're going to take this little color here. Got a spot right there on my palette. I'm going to grab a little bit of black, not much. And we'll mix that up. This brush is, I have a hard time throwing away anything. So, and this, look at how dark that is. Nice. Oh, now we're going to take this green and we're going to take a little bit more blue to it. Getting a nice green. I'm going to take that into the white that we had. I probably shouldn't have used that brush, but oh well. There is our tint. And now I need to clean my brush. Grab a little bit of this green, put it over to the side, grab a hint of the black. Ooh, I think I need a little bit more green. Being very cautious. There we go. And so there we go. And now we're going to add a little bit more blue to this green. And we're going to make it a blue green. Probably need to grab just a little bit more. Now it's starting to dry up on me, so it's clumping. So I should have worked a little bit faster. And that's something to be aware of when you are painting. All right, so here is our blue-green. Oh, isn't that a beautiful color? That is rich. Again, we'll take a little bit of that, put it to the side down there, grab a little hunk of white, mix that. Have a lovely little tint. That particular color. Cleaning our brush. I'm now gonna take a little black. I'm gonna add it in there to that blue-green. And you can see what kind of shade we have with that. So now we're on to our last section of red violet and blue violet. So what we're going to do is I'm rotating this piece of down here, and I'm going to use this area to mix up equal parts of blue and red. So here we go. Try to get a nice chunk of red. We'll mix it up right there. Get this other red, just kind of, still will be using that. Now I'm going to take some blue, and hopefully I will get a nice combination of those two mixed up, even though that blue is chunking up on me, which is super disappointing when that happens. It's kind of annoying when it happens, to be honest. There we go. Okay, so here is our violet. Okay, and I put a little bit here on the side, so down here. I'm cleaning my brush. I'm gonna grab just a little bit of white and mix that up. We've got our tint. Probably used a little bit too much water there, but that's okay. There's our tint. And then we gotta clean it up. And then I'm going to get a little black. This is our black here. Put that to the side down there. Clean that up. And grab a little bit of the violet we made and mix it with a little bit of that black. That's going to be pretty dark. Yes, it is. Maybe got a little bit too much water in this, but that's okay. All right, so now I want to clean my brush. And I want to take a chunk of this violet that we made, and hopefully I've left enough to do a blue violet with. Hopefully, we'll find out. Let's see. Yeah, I left enough over there. Now I'm going to add more red to this, and this is going to become a red violet. You can see I'm adding, just working my way in there, adding more red. There, that looks good. This is a red violet. And then I want to take a little white into that. And then we have a tint. And the last thing we'll do with the red violet is add some black to it to make our shade. And if those of you who are painters out there, you understand how trying to find that balance sometimes by mixing your colors can be somewhat challenging. But if you stick to the rule of trying to make it equal, you'll be fine. You'll get it. And artists, like a good painting, when I look at a color of or a particular painting, I look at, did the artist, how did they mix their colors? Is there a nice balance with their colors? I'm thinking about that. Now I can see that my water container is slightly leaking and it's bleeding, but we're okay, no big deal. We would put this on the drying rack and just let it dry. The last one we're gonna do now is we're gonna add a little bit more blue here to this violet that we made earlier. There it is. We have created a lovely blue violet. Maybe add a little bit more blue to that. There we go. There we go. A little bit more of blue-violet happening. And then we can just take a little white into that little section there. Lovely. And the last particular section there, we would take a little black into the end of this. And we've finished up our colors. We'd wash all our brushes and clean off our palette. All right, so your name needs to be put on this with the hour. At the bottom, you need to answer those questions that are on that particular piece, and those questions I answered as I was working on this. So good luck making your color wheel, and tomorrow or after the next day, we will start our final painting project. I'm excited to get going. All right, talk to you later. Bye.